Welcome back to the Retrocaptacular podcast, where each month we continue our search for the best bad movies on the planet Earth. I am your host, Aaron, and I am joined, as always, by Matt.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going? You rattled that off nice and quick, like you're a natural or something.
It's good. It's going good.
I wonder how many people, start listening to this podcast and then have no idea what it's about because they didn't understand what you said because you said it too quickly.
It is a bit of a word jumble sometimes because I say it real fast,
Yeah.
but
It's tradition now, though.
I like to get it out of the way and get into
The juice.
the nitty gritty of what we're doing.
The pulp.
Yeah.
You like pulp?
I do like pulp.
You like pulp in your orange juice?
Yeah, like I don't go out of the way to get it necessarily.
You're not like, oh yeah, give me that extra pulp.
Like I'm not seeking it out. Like I'm not pushing the jugs aside being like, where's the pulp? But like, yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Are you smooth peanut butter or chunky peanut butter?
I mean, peanut butter, I like them both.
Yeah. So
You know?
I almost always buy smooth, but then like when I get chunky, I'm like, this
yeah.
is like a little treat.
So what you do is you buy smooth, but you also just buy peanuts. And then whenever you're feeling one way or the other,
Just crush them up and chug them on.
yeah, spread the peanut butter on your toast and then put actual peanuts on your toast. And then bing, bang, boom, you got a stew going.
Yeah. Unless you're one of those people that buys that like au naturel peanut butter that you have to like mix up every time.
I mean, I do use that sometimes. It is objectively more annoying,
Yeah.
but it also is better.
Apparently if you have like a hand blender.
Yeah, actually, your mom taught me that trick.
Okay, yeah, my mom taught me that trick
Yeah.
also. You just like, you can just blend it all up and apparently it'll stay more or less mixed.
Yeah.
So that's
Accurate.
top tip for peanut butter that you didn't think you'd get on this show. But
Welcome to the Retrocaptacular podcast.
more than just a couple of pretty boys talking about pretty bad movies.
Oh, can we make that our twiddle?
Our Twiddle account?
I was gonna say Twitter handle, and I combined it.
Oh,
Our
Wait.
twiddle.
I can put it in our like in our bio,
Where?
like where it's like because you can like
Like
write,
on the podcast app or something.
no, like on the Twitter.
on the Twitter. Oh, okay. I don't use Twitter.
When it says like about me section or whatever,
Okay.
you put
More than just a couple. I don't remember what you said,
Couple of pretty-
but we did record it.
a couple
so
of pretty boys talking about
more than just pretty bad movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
peanut butter and the other thing we talked pulp
Mm-hmm.
in orange juice. We talked about it all.
Maybe I'm just hungry.
Yeah, we didn't snack while we watched the movie this time.
I didn't think of that.
We usually get some popcorn or
I
something.
should have made popcorn. My apologies. I've
We
been
can't
a
do it
bad
now.
host.
Can't
Should
do
we
it.
just stop recording and go make popcorn? And then just do the podcast while...
No, there's
snacking?
no bigger faux pas than eating while doing a podcast, and popcorn might be one of the worst things to eat.
Yeah. It's like
kettle chips would be like number one.
Yep.
Popcorn's right underneath there.
yes. Yeah.
3 would be like soup.
I was going to say...
It'd be like,
spaghetti.
yeah, something you gotta
but
slurp.
also- yeah.
Also, okay, on the topic of soup,
Okay.
do you like put the spoon into your mouth, or are you one of those weirdos that like sucks the broth off of the spoon?
What about all of the other... Wait. But what about like the chunks of stuff in your soup? Or you're
okay.
talking about like a pureed soup or something?
So you're making soup properly. Well, okay. So no, let's talk like, okay. So we got like, let's say we got like a very basic like chicken noodle soup. You got like the short little noodles in there.
Okay. Yep.
You got
We got some chunks of chicken.
some chunks of chicken.
Probably carrots.
Whoa, that's even.
Oh, okay.
that's
No carrots.
Yeah.
All right. Easing off on the veggies. Okay.
Maybe there's some carrots, maybe some celery.
Okay.
That formed the base of the broth.
Right.
Right. Now, are you putting the whole spoon in your mouth and eating it silently like a dignified person, or are you slurping it up like some kind of soup monster?
I put it in my mouth.
Yeah, me too.
I fully put it in my mouth, and then once it's down to like the last little bits, then I slurp it like a monster out of the bowl.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. This sounds like you maybe have a personal story that you need to air.
I know a surprising amount of people, or have met a surprising amount of people in my life that are like hold the soup next to their lips and like
Okay.
yeah.
That's...
I don't want to name names. It's no one.
I'm not going to call someone out on the
No.
podcast.
No.
That means it's someone who listens to the podcast, which is like 5
Actually,
people. I could narrow this
I
down.
don't know. Hey man, we get downloads.
Okay. Weird.
Anyways, movies and shit.
Yeah.
Do you like them?
You know, yeah, I do. I mean, it is spooky season. It's October.
spooky
Halloween's
season.
coming up, so I've had a big long list of Halloween movies or sometimes shows that I want to watch. Been going through a bunch of them. First off the list was definitely the Cartoon Network series Over the Garden Wall.
Ooh, I'm not familiar with
You're not
this.
familiar?
No. Is this new?
It's not new. It's not terribly old. I don't remember what year this came out.
Okay.
But it is exquisite. It is so... It's hard to describe, but it is...
Because I'm thinking Cartoon Network. I'm thinking Dexter's Laboratory. Your Fairly Odd Parents. Maybe a Samurai Jack.
Oh, Samurai.
Because that's how they said it in the theme song. Samurai Jack.
That's right. Samurai Jack was great.
It's great. Yeah, it's a good show.
Nope, it's not like any of those.
Okay.
It is simultaneously beautiful and haunting and hilarious and deep and intricate. It has great music. One of the main characters voiced by Elijah Wood. It's so interesting and like kind of wacky, but not in a fun way. But it's really hard to describe. The tone is sublime. I highly recommend Over the Garden Wall.
Over the Garden Wall. Where do you watch it?
From your friend that's downloaded it all.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it actually streams anywhere, but it's so good. It's the kind of thing like I watch it every year.
Okay.
Like
cool.
It's amazing.
Nice. Well, I think the listeners are gonna want to know definitely from last episode. Did you finish the Rings of Power?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I did watch more since then.
Okay.
Spoilers for Rings of Power.
Spoilers.
I saw the episode that ended with the volcanic eruption.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was like, that's dope.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But I still haven't kept watching after that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, some stuff happens
Okay.
that I was like, oh, you did that, huh?
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Were some choices made?
Some choices were made where it's like, oh, you just did the obvious thing. Cool.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm still sort of interested to finish it, but I've started to just kind of feel like it missed. This was a swing and a miss.
yeah. Again, it's very clear that this is the beginning of
This was a prologue.
This is there's 4 more seasons coming. Not everything is going to be wrapped up neatly
Of course.
and nicely in this one season. So I think a lot of people that are mad about it gotta chill.
Fair.
In that sense. But also it has some prequelitis. Which is not like a dig at like the Star Wars prequels, but
But it is though, isn't it?
no, not necessarily, because I don't think the Star Wars prequels ever tried to like they weren't hiding the fact that Anakin was going to turn into Darth Vader at the end, you know?
Yeah.
They weren't
That's
trying to make it a surprise. They're like, you know what's going to happen, we're just going to show you how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And this is clearly trying to do some like like, ooh, what could possibly be happening? It's a mystery box. And it's like, oh, it's a mystery box. But is it this thing? And they're like, we'll never tell. It's like, but it's that thing, isn't it? Like, maybe. Like, no, but it is, though. Because...
You didn't wrap it fully. I can see the price tag.
I shook it, and it's Lego. Like, it's kind of one of those things. It's
okay.
Let me just put it this way: they all but reveal exactly who the stranger is, and it's exactly who you expect it to be.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And they do it in a way where it's like, aren't we clever? And it's like, no.
Well, it would have been clever if it was a new character.
It would have been clever if it was anything else. Or if you were setting it up to be one character and we were all like, ah, yes, of course. And then well, I mean, okay, so there's two theories, right? There's people who are like, that's either Sauron or it's Gandalf. And I'm like, what if it's neither of them? And I'll just say this, it's one of the two.
Oh. Damn it.
At least everything that they're said, like I said, they don't come right out and say it, but everything that they're implying heavily is like, yeah, okay, we get it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's butts.
It is butts. Unless they pull a bait and switch in season 2 and it's like, it actually is Saruman. Which would be cool, but they won't, and I definitely grabbed a pillow and screamed into it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess we will see what happens next, unless I never keep watching, which is a possibility. It didn't grab me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep going with it, but man, there's opportunities to do things and play with expectations, and they weren't taken.
Bummer.
Yeah. Bit of a bummer, but that's kind of the risk you run when you do something that's set before something that we already know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is difficult to pull off.
And like I understand that there's because like as soon as the episode was over, I grabbed my copy of Return of the King and I'm flipping to the appendices and I'm reading the timeline and I'm going, what the fuck are they doing here? Yeah. And I get that they're compressing the timeline a little bit because it takes place over hundreds and hundreds of years.
Right.
Because elves live a long time and Numenorians live a long time, and I guess maybe dwarves also live a longish time.
Longer than humans, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
But my perception might be skewed by Dungeons and Dragons.
Maybe. I don't know. But, the Numenorians live longer than regular men, right? Because, like, Aragorn's supposed to be, like, 87 or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. It's a hot 87-year-old.
Yeah, he does Pilates. So yeah, that's that's my thought without directly just spoiling everything. It's as close as I can get to explaining my grievances.
Cool.
With Lord of the Rings, but I'm gonna keep watching.
I'm not nearly as deep into like Tolkien lore and stuff as other people that I know that are watching it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not either. Like, I'm not super crazy. Into the, like I've tried to read the Silmarillion maybe half a dozen times and I've never got past page 10.
I've never even touched it.
It's fucking horrible to attempt. It's not fun. You know, and I know people that have read it multiple times.
Oochie.
You know, but so I don't really care. I'm like, just show me like a good Lord of the Rings thing.
Yeah, give me a good show.
And if the lore doesn't match up perfectly, I'll forgive it. My issue is with don't do the obvious thing and then act like you're being super clever about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I gotcha.
My thing is just like, be a better writer. That's my big thing. So.
Yeah. Hot take.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably not that hot. I'm sure most people feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What makes a hot take? What makes a take hot?
Oh, okay. A hot take is like, what's the thing that everyone likes?
Pizza.
Pizza. Pizza sucks. Is a hot pizza. Actually, no. A hot take would be like, actually, pizza isn't as good as you think it is, and let me explain why. Would be like a hot take.
So it is like an unpopular opinion?
Kinda, yeah. Like a hot take would be, actually, we don't need 47 Marvel shows happening all at the same time. And maybe they should give up and go away for a while.
Like take a breather?
Take a break.
Take a break, come up with one good idea.
Yeah.
And then do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
That's kind of a hot take. Or like, actually, the DC universe is better than the Marvel universe. Especially with their movies. That's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But saying that Rings of Power is kind of mid? Nah. I think that's a pretty generally accepted take.
Room temperature take.
Might even be a hotter take to say, like, Rings of Power is exceptional.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you just don't get it.
Oof. Rude.
No.
Huh.
Rings of Power is like, it's just pretty good.
Yeah. I think the thing that sucks the most for me is that it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It's
and I'm watching it being like,
expensive.
oh, this is gorgeous. And then I'm like, I wish Galadriel wasn't a static character.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she will get less static to become the Galadriel that we know more.
She already
like,
kind of does.
Near the end?
Near the end, yeah.
Okay. She's been boring to watch.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
There's been a lot of, we need to go do this. And then they stand around for a bit and don't do it.
Or it's like, we need to go do this, but there is this hardship in the way. The hardship is now overcome. Now we do the thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess did that matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, they could have got to off of Numenor a lot faster. And, you know, they're burning their boats and she's breaking into the tower and she's like, this guy's the king of the Southlands or whatever, and yeah.
But again, the last episode that I watched, I did like.
Where the volcano exploded. It ended with the volcano exploding.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, they're in the town and then they get the thing because the boy gives it up, and then all of a sudden the Numenorians come in and it feels they're coming in very like Deus Ex Machina style, where it's like, don't worry, we'll save the day. We came from nowhere and had no idea you were here. And then what's his butt? Father,
Adar
gets on the horse, you know, with the bundle and pieces, and then they catch him, and I was like, oh, okay, that sucks that they just like got him right away. And then finally, like, you know, they haven't been touching the satchel, and then finally the boy unravels it and it's just a hatchet, and I'm like, oh yes,
yeah,
that's that kind of twist I was looking for. And I was wondering too, there was like several scenes ago, I was like, where the hell is that old bastard? And then
because he's like, I have a task for you.
Yeah. And I'm like, where is he? And then bada bing, bada boom, he's getting erect and putting it in. And I apologize. I regret my decisions.
But yeah.
And then also the thing that I really like, because we knew that they were going to make Mordor. He's like, I need a place for my kids. And I was like, okay, he's going to make Mordor. And I thought it was going to be
and if you look at the map,
it's
like,
Mordor.
Yeah. If you have any basic familiarity with the map of Middle Earth, it's like, oh, that's like right about where Mordor is.
Yeah.
And I mean, the map is a little different at this point because like Gondor doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Rivendell's been established yet or not.
I guess I kind of assumed that that's where, the scenes where there's the king.
No. They take place in Linden. Yeah, Linden, Washington.
I was just gonna say that.
That's where the outlet mall's gonna be.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, where they turn the King's Palace into a Nordstrom rack, and everyone gets great deals on suits.
Love it.
Yeah.
But no, the thing that really interested me, that I thought it was gonna be, like some kind of blood sacrifice and dark magic, and then like the land would get corrupted, but then it's like, no, they were building aqueducts with their manual laborers. Yeah. That's why they had those tunnels. And then the sword is a key that just unlocks the dam at the top of the mountain. And then it's water. And then the water rushes through and it goes in the volcano. The volcano freaks out, which I would too if I got a bunch of water dumped on me.
Yeah, that's actually scientifically accurate. I saw a science video or something.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so okay. It's like, actually, this is how this can happen and why.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I thought so. I wasn't positive. I'm not a Vulcan.
What?
What do they call? What are the people who study volcanoes called again?
A volcanologist?
No, those are the people who study Vulcans.
Oh. Nerds?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not a nerd. So. But then it happened, and then, all the smoke and the eruption and it blots out the sun. And I'm like, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Like, that is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I don't know why that wasn't enough to make me want to keep watching. But, yeah, I did really enjoy that aspect.
It's also kind of obvious because, like, earlier on, no one's talking about Mordor. No one's ever saying, oh, we're going to go to Mordor. Oh, Sauron's in Mordor. Any of the Mordor. And then they're talking about the Southlands, and it's like, I've never heard of the Southlands before.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of... So that's a nice setup and payoff for rewarding people for knowing something about the subject matter that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then other stuff is not. So...
Well, yes. Here we are.
But overall, good. All right. Anything else on your Halloween watch list that you've been going through? I got some stuff. If you want me to talk while you think.
My brain died. I'm
Okay.
like, I've watched so many movies, and then I don't remember any of them.
I watched every single Saw movie.
How many is that?
9.
9?
Yeah.
I've never even seen one of them. How, in what was the time frame that you watched 9 Saw movies?
Week.
A week?
Yeah.
How is your brain doing?
It's fine.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you. The first one's pretty good.
Okay.
It's like a cool original kind of... It's more a thriller mostly than a horror movie. And then they take a steep nosedive.
Okay.
Just like each one just like getting worse and worse and worse until you get to like Saw 5 and they kind of just start to look like made-for-TV movies.
Oh, boy.
With like way more gore than you'd ever be allowed to have on TV, but they're just filmed horribly.
Oh.
They just look so cheap and so shitty. And then... So I guess like they had 7 movies come out in 7 years.
Wow.
They just every Halloween there was just a new Saw movie every year. Bang, 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 just banged them out.
Yikes.
And then they took like a 7-year break or something like that. And then they did another one called Jigsaw, and that one's okay.
All right.
And then there was one that came out last year, which I went and saw it in the theater when it came out, so I'd seen it before. And I should say, I'd seen a couple of the Saw movies. I think I'd seen the first 3 before.
Oh, okay.
And then this
That still leaves a lot that you hadn't.
9th one, Spiral, I'd seen that one as well. And that one's pretty good also.
Okay.
Because it's kind of more back to the, like, police procedural cop movie kind of thing. So, yeah, I watched all 9 Saw movies in like a week. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Do I regret it?
That was going to be my question.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I feel like I have not been enriched by this experience in any way, you know. But it was something of a morbid curiosity to me.
Oh?
Yeah. Well, and how this came about was I was at Walmart. I was looking through the movies. And they had the Blu-ray of Spiral there for $20. And I was like, I did like that movie. I would add that to my collection. And then right next to it, they had the Saw 9 movie collection for $30.
Walmart gets you again.
And I'm like, well, you know what? I also like the first Saw. So for $10 more, I get the first Saw, and I get the new one that I like. And I get
all of the other ones.
7 other Saw movies that I have not seen.
I mean, that is a pretty cheap price for a nonology or whatever you would call 9 movies.
I think so. It's a stripped down set. There's no special features, not even an audio commentary, nothing.
Oh, okay. Well,
you get some subtitles in English or Spanish, and that's it.
Okay.
I don't even think you get audio in Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
except for the Jigsaw and Spiral discs, those appear to be they just chucked those in. Like they had them pressed.
like you open the case and they just like fell out.
No, like Saw 1 and 2 are on one Blu-ray, and then like 3, 4, and 5 are on another Blu-ray, and then like 6 and 7 are on a third Blu-ray.
Right.
But like Jigsaw has its own disc.
Right. Okay.
And Spiral has its own disc, and they're probably just like the normal discs that they just grabbed and chucked into the set to.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that has like commentaries and behind the scenes and stuff, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so much. That's so many movies.
It's a lot.
Woof.
Did you think of anything else yet that you?
I did. Have you ever seen Paranorman?
No.
Oh, it's lovely. I really enjoyed it.
Is it stop motion?
It is stop motion. I think it's by Studio Leica, if I remember correctly. And they're a studio that like has done no wrong for
They're the ones that did Kubo and the Two Strings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're wonderful.
It's weird that guy directed the only good Transformers movie.
There was a good Transformers movie?
Bumblebee's pretty good, yeah.
Oh, never saw it.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to know.
I mean, like, the bar is quite low.
Indeed.
And so it's like, oh, I can see what's happening. This is good.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. There is a good Transformers movie. It's animated and it's from the 90s.
It's from the 80s, I think.
Oh, the 80s. My apologies. Yeah.
Unless it's like 1990 or something.
Starring
like
Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. I have never actually seen that movie all the way through.
What?
Yeah.
Have we never watched it together all the way through?
We started watching it one time, and then we wanted to play with Transformers toys.
It'll have that effect.
Yeah.
One might say it's designed to have that effect.
Yeah. I read an interesting thread the other day about like why we're so obsessed with like nostalgia and like brand loyalty. And it's like because in the 80s Reagan did deregulated children's programming, which basically allowed all these people to just make half-hour cartoon commercials for their toys.
Right.
Like He-Man and G.I. Joe and Transformers and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like created this like need for like you could have something that looks like He-Man, but if it's not the exact He-Man that you expect or remember, then it's bad.
Interesting. So
Which
we're
is also why when people try to do new and interesting things with brands, like the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe show on Netflix,
right.
and spoilers, He-Man dies in the end of the first episode,
Yes.
people are like, this is bullshit.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah. It's
I was
great.
I was like, I had little expectations for that show, and at the end, He-Man dies, and I'm like, yes, fuck yes, I'm in.
Yeah.
This is brilliant and bold.
Yeah. And so, they're like, no, I just wanted an episode where, like, every episode He-Man does badass stuff.
Weird.
And I just want to be spoon-fed this thing that makes me feel like I felt when I was playing with my toys.
Right.
And, yeah.
So you're saying we're brainwashed, and it's Reagan's fault.
It does, yes, technically go back to Ronald Reagan. It's kind of his fault. Which is why, so, other thing I watched Halloween Ends, which is the last Halloween movie that'll ever be made. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about...
I was about to ask.
And it's going to be the most finalist one ever. They're never going to make another one.
The final chapter, part 1.
I enjoyed it. For the most part.
Okay. I was like, there's an ellipses there.
There is an ellipses. And I think, so what I really liked about it is that they tried to do something new and different. Which maybe you should have tried to do like 2 movies ago in the thing. Instead of just chucking it into the last one. Instead, but because like maybe you don't want to try something new and different in the one that's the last one.
Interesting take.
Well, because then it's like, okay, well, that's like, oh, you did something new and different. That's nice. It's all well and good, but now it's over. It doesn't matter.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean.
And there's this, like, kind of finality that's, like, tacked on to the end where they have to, like, she kills Michael Myers at the end, and they throw him into a, like, metal crunching thing, and you see him get...
What are they, in a junkyard or something?
No, she kills him in her kitchen, and then they strap him to the roof of the car and then drive to a junkyard and then throw his body into like a metal crushing thing.
Nice.
Yeah. But Michael Myers is not in the movie for a lot of it. There's like a new character that kind of takes over and is kind of using the Michael Myers legacy to be like sort of not really a copycat killer, but like it's almost like he's feeding off Michael's evil. There's interesting ideas at play. I don't think they're all executed the best, but it's for like the 13th movie in a franchise and like the 3rd reboot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is actually one of the better sequels, like probably in the top 3 or 4 sequels that you've done, which is crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
4th reboot? Hold on.
That many?
I guess it depends on what you count. So like Halloween 1 and 2, right? And then Season of the Witch, is that a reboot? Because Season of the Witch is an anthology.
They don't like to put labels on it, you know?
And then it goes back to the return of Michael Myers in Halloween 4. So like, is that reboot number 1? And then they did the one in the 90s where they erased all of the previous sequels and went back to do a direct sequel to Halloween 1 or 2.
You know, experts still disagree.
And then there's the Rob Zombie reboot. And then there's this new reboot, which goes back to Halloween 1 as like a sequel.
Maybe every movie's been a reboot.
Maybe. Kinda. So yeah. But a lot of people are real mad about it because they don't have Michael Myers.
Because it was different.
But then they also complain when it's too much the same. So it's like, what do you want?
Yeah. That's a problem.
It's like, it's basically like exactly the same as the first one. It's just not as good.
Yeah, that's a weird thing that people have with their expectations that I have come to learn is just going to be a constant.
Mm-hmm.
Where like there will be a large faction of loud, angry people who hate a thing.
Yeah.
Forever. And it's unfortunate. It was really Star Wars that opened up my eyes to how bad this actually is.
Because it's never going to be as good as you remembered it being when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And people that grew up liking the prequels feel that way about the sequels.
Yeah.
And like there's a whole bunch of people that grew up watching like the Clone Wars animated show and the prequels, and like that's kind of their Star Wars, and they don't really care about the original trilogy too much. You know, like they don't have that sort of reverence for it the way we do, because we didn't grow up seeing them in the theaters, but that was what we watched like on VHS and stuff.
Exactly.
As little kids. And so like they kind of like look at the sequels and they're like, this is crap and this is stupid, and like, like so like when they put, you know, clone troopers and stuff in Battlefront 2, all of a sudden people are like, yeah, fuck, this is exciting, and then there's a bunch of like 40-year-old nihilists going like, why do you want this?
Of course.
You know, so yeah, it's just gonna be this like unending cycle of disappointment.
Woof.
Yeah.
This episode got heavy.
Yeah. Speaking of making the same movie over and over again and expecting a different result, we watched the same movie we watched last month.
Yeah,
last
we
week
did.
or 2 weeks ago, whenever.
I don't remember when it was.
Yeah,
we did. It was weird.
We went back and revisited the original scrapped version of the Exorcist prequel, Dominion prequel to the Exorcist,
which is such a title.
It's a well, the Exorcist the beginning was taken, so
yes, right,
because originally they shot it as Exorcist the beginning,
right,
and then they reshot it and released that version, and then when that didn't get received well, they were like, ooh, well, we have this other one here.
So just so I have it straight, the movie that we watched for this episode was shot first,
yes, technically
released second.
Yeah,
Roger,
correct,
cool.
So they hired Paul Schrader, the guy who wrote Taxi Driver, which is a, you know, deep character study into the mind of a man slowly losing his grip on reality as he drives a taxi late at night in New York City. And they hired him to write and direct. Well, yeah, I don't know if he actually wrote. No, he didn't write it. The guy that wrote Terminator 2 wrote this.
Oh, interesting.
With someone else. I think he probably has a story credit on it, though. I wasn't paying too close attention at the credits, but so they hired this guy to make the movie. And then they were weirded out when he turned in a dark character study of a man slowly, you know, confronting the horrors of his past.
Yep.
And we're like, why isn't it scary, though? Paul, it's supposed to be scary. You said it was going to be scary.
Yeah.
And he's like, what could possibly be more horrifying than staring into the abyss of nothingness and confronting your faith and realizing that there's nothing there for you and that your past will always come to haunt you. And they're like, what about ghosts and demons and shit, Paul?
Existential dread is way scarier than jump scares, you know? Come
what
on.
if the hyenas eat a boy, though?
Oh, boy. Yeah, wow.
Man, we thought the hyenas in the first one looked bad.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There were these terrible, weird, awful CGI hyenas when they were in a pack. But then when it was a close-up of one of them, it was a real animal.
Yeah, but he's just like standing still. So it's either like a really good puppet or they just got one well-trained hyena to sit for a close-up. But yeah, so basically when the first one didn't do well, they were like, oh, fuck. Okay, sure, we can release the Paul Schrader version. And they gave him something like $50,000 to finish it, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's not.
It's not.
Especially when you got to do VFX and stuff still. And that definitely shows.
Yep. At one point, there's a CGI what I think is supposed to be a snake going by someone's foot really quickly,
Yeah.
and I'm like, ooh, I recognize that from Reboot.
Yeah. No, there's some like primetime in the 90s level visual effects going on here.
Yeah. Some real special stuff.
On par with like the mare snake from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think it's season 3.
Mare?
The mayor of Sunnyvale turns into a snake monster. If you remember that.
I don't remember that actually.
Oh, I think it's the end of season 3.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's fun.
So how are we gonna talk? Are we gonna like recap the plot? Because it's like all of the major. No, well there are some differences, but
there's
like
some differences. There's some characters that were added in the beginning that are not in Dominion. Which also, I think we should refer to them as Beginning and Dominion, just as like
that's a good clarification. Yeah,
because if we say the first one, the second one, it's going to be
it gets
confusing.
real messy.
Yeah. If I do slip up, though, I'm usually going to be referring to the first one that we watched.
Yes, this is
I'll be referring to Beginning as the first one because it came out first. But,
right. Yeah.
But for the most part, we'll try and keep it
The beginning,
consistent. Yeah.
Dominion.
Beginning and Dominion.
Yeah. So, I mean, right off the bat, Dominion starts with the scene that sets up Marin's character. Like Father Marin is a priest. The Nazis are there, and they make him select people from his village to die. Otherwise, they will all die. And we start with that scene.
Yeah.
Whereas in the beginning,
and also you get context for it, so you don't really get that in Beginning, right?
yeah,
Because you just see it in pieces in flashbacks, and you're like, why is this Nazi being a dick?
yeah,
I mean, like, he's a Nazi.
yeah.
And I think that they assume that, like, that's all you're going to need,
yeah,
right? But it's like someone murdered a German soldier that stabbed him in the back with a kitchen knife and left him in a ditch. Someone in this village did it, and we're going to find out who, and we're going to execute that person. And that's, that's what needs to be done. So they bring the priest over because they're like, they confess to you.
yeah, exactly. There's a reason.
Tell me, it's not just, I'm here to shoot the children, priest.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We didn't talk about that in the last episode, but the way that the guy says priest, he's like, God's not here, priest. And he really those R's.
Yeah.
The German soldier in this one doesn't really try to do an accent too much.
Yeah.
He kind of Kevin Costner's his way through it. There's some words where he's like, the German army is retreating, and you think that you are safe, but you're not. And it's like, okay, are you gonna do it or you're not gonna do it?
But it was ultimately less distracting than the priest version.
God's not here today, priest.
Yeah.
Can't you tell how German I am? I will shoot the little girl now. Watch me shoot her. It's like, okay, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, Nick Kroll.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a very like Nick Kroll comedy level accent. Yeah.
Doesn't Nick Kroll play a German in something and it sounds exactly like that? Is that Nick Kroll in like the episode of Community where there's the Germans?
Oh, yeah,
the foosball?
The foosball. Yeah. I'm not even touching the Fußenschaften.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it was like in the beginning.
Totally.
Yeah, Dominion, it was better. It was a much more
it's a better thought out movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily delivers in terms of execution. In terms of execution, and I don't know how much of that is due to the fact, like, I don't know if they finished filming the whole thing before it got canned, or if they just shot most of it, and then, like, maybe they needed to go back and do some reshoots, some pickups or something, and get some more material to finish it. I know that they only gave him about $50,000, and so, like, the effects are real bad, and the composer ended up doing a bunch of scoring just, like, on his own time for free. because just didn't have money to pay him, and he was like, well, my name's on it, I want it to be good, so I guess I'll just do it.
Yeah, that sucks.
And they did use some of the music from the beginning as well in their points, I think, but
It's a good way to recycle.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like, it's ultimately, character motivation is there, and the setting and actions taken are more realistic in Dominion than in the beginning.
yeah.
But
The idea, I think, in Dominion that the church and the demon that's possessing the boy. So there's the new character that's kind of like the biggest difference between Dominion and beginning is that there's this boy in the village who's like a cripple, and he's like an outsider, and the villagers don't like him, and
Yeah, kind of.
they say he's cursed.
Yeah, it kind of seems like he lives like not in the village, but like out in the rocks, and like comes close to like scavenge water essentially.
Yeah, he's like scavenging stuff when at night and things like that. Right?
Rail thin, has bone deformities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Father Marin has been trying to like. Well, he's not Father Marin at this point, but he's an archaeologist. He's been trying to befriend this boy as he's been doing the dig, and can't really get close to him, but eventually kind of finds him passed out in the village one night and brings him to the doctor. And from there they begin to develop a relationship with him and trust him, and they're like, we could bring in a surgeon to re-break his leg and set it properly so that it heals properly, and try and do that. And they're like, would you like this? And he's like, oh yes please, that would be good. And and in beginning it's just like some hyenas eat one boy, and then they just assume that his brother is possessed because he stood there and watched the hyenas eat his brother and didn't move. And it's like, okay.
But there's also like, there is some like straight up demonic scenes with the boy in the hospital where he's like shaking and stuff, and like doesn't like being touched by the cross, and like the whole bed shakes and the whole room shakes.
Does he not like being touched by the cross?
I thought I remembered that happening.
I don't remember. I remember like, yeah, the bed shaking and everything, but then it turns out that it was because I don't know. I don't think the cross thing is in there.
Oh, okay.
But because what it turns out is that the doctor is the one that's possessed, and so like everything, like when the villagers break into the hospital to try and perform their own ritual to like cleanse the boy, things don't start going wrong until she comes in
and she starts screaming
and she's screaming, and they grab her and they're holding a knife to her throat, and then that's when the bed starts rattling and windows are breaking and bones are breaking and stuff like that, right? And in Dominion they just don't do that. They're like, no, it's just the boy is possessed.
Yeah. There is like still the same character who's the father, who has the two boys.
Yeah.
With the very Christian names.
James and Joseph?
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, those kids are not involved in the plot.
Yeah.
It's all about this strange boy who like they do reset his leg, and he like starts to heal, and he's like healing kind of like miraculously.
Yeah.
But there's like the movie ultimately is an Exorcist movie. It's supposed to be a horror movie, right? Because like there's these scenes where like when they're like doing surgery on the boy, and they've got like his leg cut open, and they're gonna like break the bone. Man, that looked nasty.
Yeah.
And then there are 3 scenes happening congruently here. There's the surgery on the boy, who we're like, oh, it's probably demon possessed, and then the chief's wife is having a baby, and then they've at this point excavated the doors of the church and managed to get in, but they don't want people robbing it because there's jewels encrusted in like the altar, and so they've got some guards posted there, and one of the guards is like, we should go steal those gems.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
the other one's
there's-
like, respect the stripes. And he's like, well, money. And then the other one's like, okay.
yeah, it was like, he's like, well, they can't blame us for having a look. And he's like, yeah, that's a good point. And then once they get in there and they see all the jewels, he's like, yeah, no, fuck it, let's steal all of this.
Yeah, so like they go to start prying gems off. They break the boy's bone, and then the chief's baby is born. And this is the same in both movies. They had the baby born covered in maggots.
Yeah, stillborn.
Hate it.
Yeah. Oh, it's disturbing.
So gross.
And I think that's kind of where this movie differs because, like, in the next scene, the Major General walks into they're like, sir, you have to come see what happened in the church. And they walk in, and one of the soldiers is beheaded, and his head is on a platter on the altar.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is nailed to the altar with, like, a knife.
Yeah, knife in the palm.
And he's upside down with his feet up over the arms of the cross.
Yeah, like an upside down crucifix.
Like in an upside down crucifixion pose. And so it's like, in beginning, if they had kept that scene, we would have seen them going crazy and killing each other.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it's just, you just see the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is a horror movie kind of, I guess, a little bit. Like, they're showing restraint.
It just doesn't have the pacing of a horror movie.
No, it doesn't.
Because again, like these three scenes are happening, and I'm like, ooh, something's building up, and all of these three things, they all end at the same time, and then it's like, and that's over, and it's the next day,
Yeah.
and then like, sir, come see something, and then these guys are dead, and then we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't build up to a payoff because there needs to be the time jump. But yeah,
Because like in the beginning, right, they find the old drunk guy strung up. The major general or whatever is like, all right, I'm gonna go kill the chief, and he goes off and he kills the chief, and then they need to get out, and then war is ramping up from there to the end of the movie.
mm-hmm. And it's kind of paralleling like the little prologue that they do where there's like two warring armies that are all dead, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the Crusades, and like they find the like Pazuzu head statue, and then it like pans out and there's just like a bunch of people crucified upside down. And yeah, in this one they just kind of, Father Merrin has found the church himself and is excavating it. He's an archaeologist now.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like in Dominion, he's already been there.
Yeah.
He's already part of the camp. He's already doing the archaeological stuff. I feel like in the beginning he was called in to take part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, by the drunk guy. He goes to recruit him and is like, hey, you should, or is it? No, it's a different guy. It's the guy that he meets at the end.
Oh, right. The
And
drunk
he's
guy's
like,
just there in
he's
that
like,
scene.
it's Father Merrin now.
Right.
Yeah. The drunk guy's there at the end when he gets to the dig site or whatever. But yeah, no, he's like recruited. They're like, well, they want you because you're an archaeologist, but you have like history of being a priest.
Mm-hmm.
They want your expert opinion. You're the only one that has the expert, Christian knowledge and archaeological knowledge to figure out what's going on in this Christian church that predates Christianity being in this part of Africa.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's just,
He's just doing his thing.
they're just doing it. He's like, I found a Christian church. It's older than it should be for this part of the world. And then as they dig it out, they're like, oh, this looks brand new. And then they actually unearth the doors and they go into the church and they're like, oh, it's spotless in here. Like,
yeah, and he like deduces like, oh, they built it and then buried it right away.
yeah.
Because none of the stones are like weather worn.
Yeah. And they realize that they built it it's the same as in beginning. They built it to contain the evil that's beneath it, which is a pagan temple where they performed human sacrifices.
Yep.
The demon statue that's in the pagan temple in this one, though, is not the Pazuzu statue.
Yeah, it's a little different.
It's a little different.
Got kind of a snake penis thing going on.
Yeah, and I would have liked. I think it's supposed to be a statue of Lucifer, because if you see the drawing of Lucifer,
It also has a snake penis.
he's got like a mouth in the crotch that two snakes are like coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. But
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so in this one, it's just kind of there, and then. At the end, they say, like, oh, the demon's going to follow you now, Father. And so, like, we're supposed to, I guess, just kind of know. They, like, superimpose the demon, like, the white demon face from The Exorcist over top of Cheche's face at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Cheche is the boy that's possessed.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we said his name or not.
We did not.
Yeah. They, like, superimpose it over his face in, like, what literally looks like they took a PNG and just like faded it in and faded it out.
Oh yeah, it's real tasty.
It's so bad. So that's kind of where Dominion suffers the most. Is for me is like the just unfinished visual aspect of it is not like it kind of takes me out.
Yeah.
I think the ideas in it are a lot better. Although interestingly. There's nothing about this church is built on the spot where Lucifer fell to earth.
Yeah, the thing is that Dominion, like I said, has all of the motivations. It's well written from a character standpoint. Everything makes sense at what the characters are doing, but
for the most part,
for the most part, that's a good clarification. It's just better than the beginning. But the beginning has a way more interesting setting for the horror.
Yeah.
Whereas Dominion is. I feel like it actually suffered because it didn't focus enough on to make the point clear, but like it is about Marin's journey.
Yeah.
It's not about this church. It's not about this demon. It's about Marin finding his faith, and they kind of gloss over that when it's just like, oh shit, okay, demons, I need to exorcise. Okay, I guess sorry God, sorry I've been gone for so long. Forgive me. I'm gonna put on the vestments now.
Yeah, it's too bad because they spent a lot of time on his character and also rushed it at the same time.
Yes. What happened there?
Yeah.
Way stronger beginning, and then it really peters off.
There's a parallel scene that happens from the opening scene with the Nazis in the Netherlands that happens after the two soldiers are found dead. The British soldiers, the Major General goes and rounds up all of the villagers, brings them into the town, and is trying to find out. Oh, excuse me. Is trying to find out who killed his men, because he doesn't believe the story from the villager that says he saw what happened, which is that they were robbing the place and then they went crazy and killed each other.
Yep.
He doesn't believe that, and he wants to find out what's really going on, and it's the same kind of thing where he like grabs a random woman and he's like, I'm gonna kill her unless you tell me what's going on, and he's like talking to the villager and like through the translator, and he's saying he's telling you the truth. He saw them go in, he saw them arguing outside, he saw them go in, they started looting the place, and then they started attacking each other and they killed each other, and he's like, that's not good enough, and he shoots the woman, and he's like, I'm gonna kill more until I find out who did this. Like, the problem, like, you don't respect me because you don't fear me, like, and I'm showing you like what
you have to fear,
and he's like, we're gonna find out, we're gonna get to the bottom of this, and then he like sends the villagers all back.
Well, Marin steps in after he shoots the woman and just punches him out.
Punches his lights out.
He drops.
And then the sergeant major kind of steps in and rounds them all up.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a good, interesting parallel. And like the rising tensions between the British army and the villagers like make sense. Whereas in the beginning, it's like they're all going crazy because of demon stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and this one is a little more, I guess, ambiguous as to, is the presence of evil in the boy and in the area in general, now that they've unearthed the church and opened up the temple underneath, is that letting this evil energy out.
Because the timing does coincide.
The timing coincides, right? And is that what's causing everyone to start to lose it a little bit? I mean, certainly it's implied in this, the British soldiers killing each other in the temple while they're looting it, like that. That's sort of implied as like, yeah, the evil energy made them do that. But then, is the tribe's distrust of the British army and the church, because they don't like the church. They're like, we want the church to be reburied. Just, we don't like it here. We don't trust it. Cover it up. And then, they're even saying things like the Christian evil. We want the Christian evil gone.
Yeah.
Right. So like they don't want. There's a scene where the Father Francis has set up a school that has 2 boys. Like he only has 2 students in it.
Oh yeah, it's James and Joseph.
And then after the woman is killed, more children come from the village, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so happy to thank your parents for letting you come to school here. This is so wonderful to see you." And then James or Joseph, whichever one, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Is
translates for him.
Translates for him, and it's like basically they're like they're here because they're scared of Jesus Christ, and they don't want Jesus Christ to kill them the way he killed that woman last night.
Yep.
And then,
which is, wow, yikes.
One of the warriors from the tribe comes into the school and just starts killing the children.
Yep.
Because he's like, we can't have the Christian evil spread.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Doesn't kill the priest, interestingly enough.
Nope.
Leaves him alive. Weird. Yeah.
He did drop him, so maybe he was gonna kill the kids and then make sure he was dead, but we don't know.
Yeah, because one of the soldiers comes in and shoots him in the head. Yep, pretty much right after that. But yeah, and so there's this growing tensions and acts of violence happening, and it's never made clear whether it's the presence of evil or if it's just this gross paranoia between the 2 groups. Like the British don't trust the tribe's people, and the tribe doesn't trust the British, and is it just human paranoia, or is it actually the presence of a demon that's causing this? And I think that's a really interesting idea. And I like that it's not as obvious as the beginning, where it's like, no, they're all going crazy because that's what happens. It happened in the Crusades too.
Also, here's a bunch of hyenas.
So yeah, I mean, so it follows those kind of basic plot points that are in the beginning. It just doesn't have that horror movie setting.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's even because while all of this awful stuff and death is going on, the boy is healing and getting better.
Yeah.
And the Father Francis, the priest, Father Francis.
Faja.
Faja
Francis.
Father Frankie is the boys or the children were killed after coming to his Sunday school, basically.
Yeah.
And he's beside himself, and he's in the hospital, and he sees that this boy is healing.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is a miracle. This is the only good thing. This is the only proof of God's presence. And he goes to hang his rosary at the head of the bed or something, and lets the cross touch the boy's forehead.
Yeah.
And the boy goes full demon possession, smashes him across the room, and is like, "Don't fucking touch me with that priest," with red eyes and stuff.
Red eyes and maybe some demon teeth.
I think he just had bad teeth.
He's had bad teeth? Okay.
I mean, he'd never seen a dentist in his life.
No. Oh, God, no. Can't even spell dentist. But yeah, so yeah. And then
his health insurance doesn't cover it. It's really what the real tragedy of the movie.
Excellent premiums, though. Real low premiums.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you do?
What can you do?
But yeah, so and the scar, the cross burned a scar into his forehead, right? And stuff like that. So
But it's like that happens, and it's like demon possession time. But then like the boy lies back down and goes back to sleep, and then we go to the next day, when Father Francis is like, "I'm telling you, there's like a demon in him," and it's like, "No, that doesn't make any sense."
Like, you're drunk. How drunk are you?
Yeah, and it's like, and so it's like there's no like ramping up. There's no compounding of suspense.
Yeah.
There's like little bits of horror in this drama.
Yeah. It's mostly a drama. And I think, which, like, to me is fine. I think you can do a more, like, character-focused drama within a horror setting and have it work. I think it's just, it needed to be tightened a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe it did need this, like, overwhelming kind of sense of dread. Like, there's a lot of, like, something happens, and then, like you said, it cuts the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's like, okay.
Yep.
Like, because, like, you know, have Father Francis, like, scream and run out of the room and, like, go wake up Marin and Rachel and, like, bring them in, like, he's fucking demon possessed. And they're like, holy shit, buddy, calm down, let's go take a look, man.
Yeah, instead of just like halting the the momentum of the scene.
They needed Jeff Bridges to play Father Marin.
Yes, it would have been great.
Wow, that's a whack crazy story, man. Let's go take a look here. What's going on? I don't know, Padre. Everything looks fine in here to me. He's just maybe did you get into my stash a little bit? You having a little green dream, you know what I'm saying? Little nightmare. Hey, it's cool if you did, man. Just let me know. Oh, Jeff Bridges in an exorcism movie. That would be great.
Yes, what a different movie.
Directed by the Coen brothers.
Of course. Wow.
Yeah, or Owen Wilson possessed by a demon.
Owen Wilson plays the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a painful cross you got there. Ow.
Maybe don't touch me with that.
You like really burned me with that there.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The red eyes are a lot. But let me just explain.
When did this show become we do celebrity impressions?
I don't know. I'm really bad at them. You're pretty good at them. I'm not.
It started with the fucking Jimmy Stewart impression.
So long ago.
Yeah. But yeah, and then it just kind of goes from there though, right? Like where it's just sort of the slow, like, oh, maybe we should baptize him.
Yeah, well, yeah, the father's like, we should baptize him. Let's ask him if he wants to be baptized. And then he wakes up and he's normal.
Would you like to be baptized? And he's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then apparently he requests to have it done in the church.
Yeah.
Which is a red flag.
A bit of a red flag.
But like there is a baptism altar there. So then the doctor, Rachel.
A baptismal font, I believe.
Yeah, yes, a baptismal font. You know, it's interesting. I remember we were talking about the beginning.
You know what the baptismal font is? Helvetica Neue.
Comic Sans? Oh, okay.
Both going for the fun, trying to find the funniest font. Garamond.
I believe it's Apple Chancery.
Yeah. You're a Garamond man. What else would I like? Some other stupid font?
No, just thinking, last episode talking about the beginning, we got well into the movie before we were like, oh, by the way, there's also this nurse who is kind of a main character.
Yeah.
But does not affect the plot. And it's happened again in this one where I'm like, oh, right, Rachel, she's the nurse. She's there all the time.
Doesn't affect the plot.
Doesn't affect the plot.
Has the concentration camp tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't affect the plot.
Yep.
It's just kind of a detail.
Yep.
He kind of sees it, and she's like, what are you looking at? And he's like, nothing.
Yep.
I'm going to go give water to the boy.
And they have like a bit of a moment where she like kind of opens up to be like, hey, I'm pretty sure we have shared trauma.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about
it.
Trauma
bond and then make out.
And then the scene ends.
They definitely made out.
Oh, they definitely did not.
No, they didn't. This is the most sexless movie I've seen in a while.
Yeah. You seen a lot of Saw? Is there a lot of sex in Saw?
Not really. But there's a lot of penetration.
Oh no. Oh no. No. So
Just not the fun kind.
yeah, I got it. It's a Dominion.
Vaginal.
Oh God. No.
I'm trying to think if there's anything like. No one has their like nipples ripped off or anything like that. There's not even like remotely. I don't think there's any nudity in the Saw movies, really.
Oh.
Yeah. And if there is, it's like not the kind you want.
Yeah.
Because usually they're about to be like cut in half or whatever. It's not important. Back to the exorcism of Chiche.
Yeah, so they kind of go like baptize him. They want to go to the creepy church. Father Francis and Rachel, the nurse, are there. And then like, he tries to baptize him. And of course he goes full demon possession. And he goes like, no! And like smacks the priest. And then there's this scene where it like pans away from Cheche and Rachel, and they're moving normally. And then it goes over to the priest, who's suddenly like flying in the air in slow motion.
Yeah.
And we're both like, oh, he's definitely going to get slow-mo impaled on one of the spears that the angel statues are holding.
Yeah.
Faux show.
Nah.
He just hits a statue in
hurts
slow-mo.
his back.
And then he lands in not slow-mo. And it's like, ouch. And the boy's like, I warned you, priest.
Yeah.
And then Father Francis is like, oh, shit, I got to go now.
Yeah.
I got to get my book.
He's like, I got to get my book. I got to get the Roman
to do an exorcism.
Rituals, yeah.
See ya. And leaves Rachel there with the demon.
Yeah.
Just fully pieces.
Yeah. Gets shot by arrows a bunch on the way back.
Which we don't see.
Which we also don't see.
He just runs away. Yeah. And then, again, the next day, they find him strung up on a tree with arrows in him.
Yeah. And then he's still alive. And then, so they bring him in. They're, like, treating him for his wounds. And he's telling Father Mary, he's like, I need the last rites, please, for my soul. And he's like, you're going to be fine. He's not.
No.
Hopefully, he read him those rites.
He didn't.
He didn't. So he's in hell. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Because if a priest doesn't stand over you and read you your last rites, you go to hell.
Yeah.
What if you die in like a car crash or something?
Go to hell.
It's like instantaneous. Fuck, man. Catholicism sucks. Can you do it after the fact?
I mean, if you look at the like
history
span of human history, you will see, in fact, that Catholicism sucks.
They have not been on the right side of it.
Correct.
Yeah. But like, no, genuine curious question though. Like, if I'm Catholic and I get in a car wreck and like I get decapitated or whatever and I'm dead and there wasn't a priest in the backseat being like, "Oh fuck, oh you're gonna go to heaven," like, what happens? Like, do they got to bring a priest to like the crime scene? And then he goes like, "Di Padre, Fili, Spirito Santi," and you're good.
Well, I think it depends. In your will, how much money did you leave to the church? Then you're going to hell.
But is that a thing? Like, can you do it afterwards?
I actually have no idea.
Like, could Father Marin, like, after he did the thing, be like, fuck, I gotta go. He's like, oh, everything's in its right place, and I feel like there's something I'm missing. I forgot. Shit!
Kevin!
Yeah. Francis! He's like, right away, like, oh, okay, I got the holy water. Okay, you're all good. You're good. You're gonna go to heaven. It's gonna be fine.
Tucks him in.
Just do the crisscross here thingy. Do the ashes on the forehead just in case. Burn some incense. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Catholicism, I mean, it's weird that they're like, if you don't drop some water on their baby's head, it's gonna go to hell forever.
Yep.
But also, like, they're like, we need to do the last rites for my soul, please. And he's like, bitch, I don't have time. I must save Cheche.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, well, that's when he's like, you need to get the Book of Roman Rituals. He's like, I haven't forgotten. He's like, look, okay, I may have not been a priest for a while, but it's not like I forgot the last rites, okay? Like, I remember some stuff.
I've been doing the last rites since you were dead.
I'm old enough to have last rites to your father.
But then he's like, no,
he's
not
like,
the last rites. The rite of exorcism.
crash zoom on his face, and Father Merrin's like, whoa, that's heavy, man.
Oh, I forgot he was played by Jeff Bridges. Right.
Yeah, and then he prays, and he's like, Father, sorry, I've been a bad priest. I've been a bad Catholic. Please take me into your bosom and take my disbelief into your bosom and make me strong again. Help me believe.
Yeah. All about that bosom.
All about the bosom. God is busty, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is known in...
It's canon.
Yeah. It's canon.
God is well stacked in it. Anyways. Ooh.
So then he gets onto the vestments, and then he gets the exorcism thing, and then he goes to the church.
Yeah.
We don't even bother with the church part, actually. He's just like goes there, and then he's in the undercroft. No, the sacrifice.
Well, as he's going up to the church, there's like an earthquake, because I guess someone put stones in front of the door.
Oh, the demon did. That's right.
The demon did. Okay.
That's actually like right after Francis leaves. I think Francis leaves and is like, "Oh, the demon's in there," and then this one's like, "Where's Rachel?" And he's like, "Oh, I gotta go." And then Marin's like gonna go to the church, and then there's an earthquake and big rocks jet up in front of the door.
That's right.
So then Rachel's just there all night because again, we cut to the next day.
Yeah. And so then like as he's going up, there's an earthquake, and it like leaves the door like to the church exposed.
Yeah,
a
the
little
two
bit.
rocks split a little.
And there's like British soldiers like, oh, perfect. And he's like going, he's like, don't go in there. And he like goes charges like, don't follow me. And he just like runs into the church and like, okay, we're gonna go to war with the tribes people, so fucking have fun in the church, asshole.
Yeah, we're busy anyway.
And so then he goes in and he finds Rachel, and she's fine, I guess.
She's like cowering, and then kind of talks nonsense for a bit and says like, he brought me there. I want to go back. Let me go back. And is like kind of, and you know, Marin is kind of like, snap out of it.
Yeah. It's like, back where? And then the demon's like, you'd like to go back too, wouldn't you, Father? And then he sends him into a flashback to the first scene in the movie, except this time he is able to, take action, and he grabs the Nazi's gun and shoots him in the head. And then the rest of the Nazis just kill everyone.
Yep.
And I don't know what the point of that was.
Yeah. And so then it was supposed to be like the demon can see Marin's guilt and like offers him absolution from the guilt by letting him relive that scene. And so then he comes back and he's like, hey, you don't have to be guilty anymore because you didn't choose the people to die.
Yeah.
And Father Marin is like, that fucking sucked.
He's like, I still did, though, because I'm here. I'm not dead, like in the vision that we just saw where I got shot. So, like, obviously.
Yep.
And then he kind of just does the,
he kind of just does the exorcism at that point, yeah.
And then it works. And then there's, like, a fucking Aurora Borealis going on.
Yeah. He gets boils all over his face that start to, like, pus and break because the demon is spitting moths at him.
Yeah, and one of the like tribal people that we've met a few times like goes crazy and like starts beating his wife, and like Rachel has run back to the hospital and she's like gonna kill herself.
Yeah,
maybe.
She grabs a knife and she puts it to her own throat.
Yeah. And Father Francis fucking...
We don't see him anymore.
We never see him. He's dead.
There's that last rites scene where he's like, the exorcism. And then that's the last we see of him. But then the exorcism works and the demon fades away. But then in the next scene, the boy's body's there.
Well, yeah. We see there's a hyena outside that has glowing eyes.
Oh, that's right, because the demon went into the hyena.
Yeah.
Classic demon.
Which is biblical. It works, you know.
Yeah.
Jesus casting out the demons into the
swine,
the beasts.
Mm-hmm.
And they run into the sea and drown.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably still eat the pigs. I don't think that would the demons ruin the pig meat.
For Jewish people, yeah.
The sour? Oh, okay. You can't eat possessed pig meat.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Rough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
A lot of them are possessed.
Most of the pigs have not been exercised before they go to the slaughter.
Yeah, it's a problem
That's
in the
rough.
pig industry. But yeah, so then
Wasn't it like wild boars? I don't know. This is Sunday school crap we don't need to get into.
yeah,
Um,
I think it was probably wild boars. I think
Yeah.
the translation is swine, and so boars is more likely given the area.
yeah.
But yeah. So then the exorcism works.
Was that the start of the Boer War?
Yep.
Okay. As long as I have no further follow-up questions.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Rachel didn't kill herself, and it's again, the exorcism works. It cuts to the next fucking day.
Yeah.
And there's just a bunch of village people and some soldiers that are packing up, and it's like, okay, I guess they didn't go to war, even though we saw
They're like charging at
literally
each other.
charging across the field.
Yeah.
But I guess they didn't go to war, and
There was also a lion eating something that was
Yes.
unclear.
a lion was eating something that we got a shot of that with the aurora borealis happening behind it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the most confusing shot so far.
Yeah.
And we do see Rachel like put the knife down and not kill herself,
Yeah.
which was helpful. But then also he goes to a grave, and it's Father Francis's grave, and we're like, oh, I guess he ate it in the night. Like,
That's right. That is the next time we see Father Francis is his tombstone.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's just dead.
And then that's when I remembered that in beginning there was this whole thing about empty graves and like there was a mass grave and
Yeah, in
the church faked it because they didn't want anyone going near the church.
yeah, in the beginning they
The
send
church
that
as an
priest-
entity didn't want anyone going near the church that was buried, the building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think in the beginning they send the priest character to try to keep things hushed up.
Yeah.
Like he's in on it.
Yeah.
And Marin like uncovers the plot of the church.
Yeah, so he's in on that, but he's also kind of going to see if like the rumors are true that this is the church that's built on the spot where Lucifer fell.
Yeah. Which again is a compelling idea that
What
they
a concept.
really didn't do enough with.
Not enough.
And then yeah, for this one it's just like there's just some sacrificial demon chamber beneath a church that was built and then immediately buried. Nothing else to it, because it's really just about Marin finding his faith again
Yeah.
by exorcising a demon.
Yeah.
It
It almost felt like there almost didn't even need to, like they just needed to have an exorcism in this movie.
for the namesake, yeah.
I guess, yeah. They're like, well, we're doing an Exorcist movie, so there should be an exorcism. And I guess it's trying to set up the relationship between him and the demon that he'll come to face again in the original Exorcist. Which is like maybe the one thing that I felt beginning did better.
Because they actually name the demon and
I don't even know if they named the demon, but like
Oh, do
they have like the
Iconography.
statue, the statue that's in the temple and the little like idol
yeah.
are the same as the ones that he finds in northern Iraq later in the original Exorcist.
Right.
And so it's like, because there's this scene in the beginning of the original Exorcist where he's just like standing on top of these ruins, staring across at this statue of this demon. And it's like staring back at him, and it's like real intense, and it's this like standoff, and it's like, what, like there's clearly something going on here that we as the audience don't understand. And it's like now makes sense. It's like, oh, the last time he saw this was in this temple underneath this church that, you know, depending on which version you want to accept as canon, either he was exorcising a demon out of a woman he liked, or was trying to save a young boy. But
Yeah.
like the idea is that like he's encountered this demon before.
Yeah. And yeah, again, as far as endings go, Dominion happier ending. He exorcises the demon out of the boy,
Yeah.
and then now the boy's fine.
Yeah.
And he's going to help the nurse. He does have to say goodbye to the nurse. They do have like a little bit of a moment, and she's like, "Write me, asshole."
Mm-hmm.
And he gives her a kiss on the cheek and does not agree to write her.
Yeah.
And walks away. Whereas in the beginning, it turns out the boy isn't possessed. It's her that's possessed. And there's a lot of weird exorcism stuff. And she's running down a tunnel all demon crazy. And then smashes into an invisible wall. And the demon's gone. And then she's like, "You saved me. Whoops, my brains are falling out of my head."
Yeah.
And then she bleeds out and dies.
Yeah. And then he goes and meets the guy that he met in the first scene. And he's like, "I didn't find what you were looking for. Like, but you did find something, didn't you, Mr. Marin?" And he's like, "It's Father Marin now," and like reveals the collar,
And then he walks towards the green screen.
walks towards the Vatican. .png.
Accurate.
Yeah.
So very different. Like, it's weird how similar, like, they were, and yet how very different they felt. The two movies.
Yeah.
Can you definitively say one is worse than the other?
Huh.
Because the way that you presented it to me is that, like, they put out one and everyone was like, "This is garbage," and then they're like, "Okay, well, what about this other one we made?" And then it was like, "Okay, well, that's still not great."
Yeah.
And
I think overall Dominion is a better film.
a better film. That is accurate. Yeah.
I think it is a better,
It has some good writing.
more thought out film.
Yes.
Like they tried to do something interesting and different and say something about the character.
But then as far as like horror stuff, the beginning
had
had
almost none of it.
Yeah, the beginning had so much demon stuff and so much horror that it was like, and people were going crazy. I was going crazy.
I think the idea in Dominion was to like show the outcome of horrific events, like people crucified upside down, that kind of stuff, guy nailed to the tree, but not necessarily show the act of violence. And maybe the 'cause like the most violent thing we see in this is the freaking Major General blowing his brains out.
Yep.
That's like the only act of like actual violence we witness happening. Everything else is like, guy bursts into the school with a spear and like knocks the priest over. And then, we see what happened after, which is he stabbed a bunch of kids to death and like crushed their heads. And it's like, that's horrific.
Yeah.
So I feel like in Dominion, we're supposed to be like disturbed more than we are supposed to be horrified or scared.
Yeah,
right.
That's actually, I was thinking about the general, and in both movies, the general kills someone and then later kills himself.
Mm-hmm.
That happens in both. The way it happens is very different, because in the beginning, after killing someone, the general is like in his tent, tending to his insects because he loves collecting butterflies.
Yeah, he does the thing where you pin dead butterflies to a canvas and frame
which
it.
is very British in my mind.
It's weird.
And then they all start flapping.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, fuck this," and blows his brains out.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm going crazy, time to die."
Or he goes to kill himself, and then like pauses for a minute, and then like a butterfly like slowly crawls out of his mouth, and then he's like, "Okay, fuck this," and kills himself.
Yeah, he like puts the gun to his head, and then the butterfly comes out of his mouth, and he's like, in the mouth is better."
Yes.
And then shoots himself through that way, right? Whereas
Dominion,
he's like, "I need you to give," he says to the sergeant major, he's like, "I need you to give Father Francis a message." Father Marin, sorry, yeah. "Tell him I understand now what he's been going through. I understand like his suffering, but the only way out is this." And then like before the sergeant major can say anything, he like whips his gun out and shoots himself in the mouth and kills himself
because he's guilt-ridden.
Yeah. So,
which is like, that's kind of, a pretty good like comparison right there, I think, of like, in one of these, this human being did something awful, can't handle it, and kills himself in front of someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the other one, it's like crazy supernatural stuff is happening, and this person is gonna horrifically kill themselves.
Yeah.
Very different tones.
Very different tones. And yeah, did he kill himself just because he was overcome with guilt, or was the presence of evil forcing his hand to commit the acts that caused him to become overrun with guilt, or is it just human nature? It asks questions, you know.
Or is the real force of evil the British Empire?
Ah,
Ooh, do we have British people that listen to the show?
not anymore.
Whoops.
We also don't have any more Catholic listeners.
Yeah.
And any Jewish listeners we have are on the fence, so
Yeah, that's fair.
But hey, I made shakshuka for breakfast the other day, and it was delicious.
Ooh, nicely done.
Yeah. So, props to who says you need pork? Americans. Yeah, they love their pork products. And you know, fair enough.
Have you ever tried pork rinds, like from the bag?
Yeah, they're weird.
They're freaking disgusting.
Yeah. Have you ever had like cracklins though?
No.
You go to like a pig, like you roast a whole pig, and then they got like the crackly skin.
Oh, yes.
That's kind of good. I don't mind that.
Yeah. I think if you see the pig get roasted, it really takes away from the enjoyment of it.
Yeah, fair.
That's how I personally feel about it.
Fair.
I have been in this situation.
Is it easier if the head is not on the animal?
Yes.
Because like I can roast a chicken, no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, but if you have a whole pig and then someone's like, the cheeks are really good. Want me to cut the cheeks off the face and feed them to you? And I'm like, no.
No, you do though. It's really good.
I've been told. I still don't.
The guanciale, man. That's how, if you're going to make like a real carbonara, you got to go get from the butcher shop, get the guanciale I mean, you can get it just on a styrofoam tray. Just go talk to the butcher, say, hey, I want the pig cheek meat. And he'll be like, all right, I'll be right back.
I will not do that.
Okay. It's too bad. It's really good.
I believe you.
Because everyone makes carbonara with bacon, and it's like, all right, yeah, I get it. It's like pork. It's like high in fat. You mix it in with the egg and stuff. Makes like a nice, delicious, greasy, creamy, eggy, porky noodle thing. But that cheek meat is, it's the good shit. I get what you're saying though. You don't want to like bite into the snout.
Yeah. Very much not.
Yeah. So how do we now wrap our experience up with watching these two versions of this movie?
Well, I think we've.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
No, you go.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go.
Do you think this experiment was interesting and worthwhile?
Yes, it was a weird trip to watch a movie that we had already seen, but things were different.
Mm-hmm.
It was like being in the Matrix.
Yeah. Because the closest we've ever come to doing something like this is when we watched two Mars movies that came out in the same year.
Yeah.
And that's just like, here's two people that had a similar idea and just happened to put them out at the same time.
Yeah. Which was funny.
Whereas this was like, people made something, realized their mistake, tried to correct it, ended up making it worse, and then tried to rectify the situation by doubling down on their original investment, and nothing good came of any of it.
Nothing at all.
And we've now dedicated 4 hours of our life to this, so...
Mm-hmm. So it has to be worth it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's unacceptable.
Otherwise, what's this all been about? I mean, I hate to break it to you. This is episode like 67 or 68 or something like that.
We're really high up there now.
We've wasted a lot of time.
Some of it's been good.
Some of it has been good.
But, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think all that's left is to rate each of these movies.
Yeah.
So, the beginning is one big pile of shit.
Yes.
That is one big pile of shit.
And Dominion is one big pile of shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
I mean, it is, right? Like,
I guess it is, yeah. Like
you compare the two and you see what's better and what's worse between them. But, you know, take a step back and look at either of them as a movie on their own and you're like, yeah, this was bad.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's a good point. Because, like, if I had watched this movie first,
Mm-hmm.
like let's say we had done this one first, and then gone and done Exorcist the beginning, I feel like I would have been much harsher on both of them.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're interested, this version has 29% on Rotten. Dominion has 29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
And Exorcist the Beginning has 10%.
Okay.
So
this is appropriate.
yeah.
So one is over twice as good,
Yeah.
and they're both bad.
And they're both bad. I think Dominion is more interesting and has better ideas, but is just not well executed.
Mm-hmm.
And the Beginning is just a generic horror crap fest
With terrible
with
CGI hyenas.
Yes, with no ideas.
Yes.
I mean, nothing's as bad as the fucking CGI hyenas in this one, or the CGI cow.
Oh, the CGI cow.
We didn't even talk about that.
Oh yeah, the cows eat hyenas in this movie.
Yeah. There's a scene where there's like a cow eating a dead hyena, and the chieftain comes over to be like, "This is because you guys opened that church. Fucking put that church away.
Yep.
Fucking put that church away because you're ruining everything. Look at this." And then there was a real cow eating a dead hyena. Probably not a real dead hyena, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
Some hay that they dyed red. And then there's like a CGI shot of a cow that looks like it's from an episode of Beast Wars.
Yes.
Just like falling over, dead.
Yep.
And it like doesn't look like the same cow. It's a different color.
Yep.
It has N64 textures. Like it's
bad. It's real bad.
Real bad. So
Oh, half expected Banjo and Kazooie to come hopping out on the screen.
would have saved. No, it wouldn't have. Not even Banjo or Kazooie could save this.
No.
But you know who could? Crash Bandicoot. No.
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 Good poll though.
Yeah.
Um.
So
Yeah.
ultimately, we learned nothing.
The search continues.
Yeah, the search will continue next month with something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
Before we sign off, do you have any Halloween recommendations for our listeners?
If you're in Abbotsford on October 28th, come to the screening of Night of the Living Dead, hosted by me and the Abbotsford Film Society. In terms of Halloween recommendations, what do I got? I watched Ring You for the first time, or Ring, which is the Japanese version of The Ring.
Oh.
Not scary really at all, but an interesting and well put together kind of supernatural mystery kind of movie.
Oh, cool.
But if you're looking for Halloween spooky kind of things, there's a really good Canadian movie called Blood Quantum, which is a zombie movie. That's maybe kind of the only zombie movie to come out in the last, fucking how long? 40 years that actually uses the genre to make any sort of commentary on anything.
Oh.
So that's interesting. It takes place in Quebec, and it's set in a world where a zombie apocalypse has occurred, and indigenous people are immune.
Whoa.
Or seem to be immune to the
Zombie virus?
but everyone else is not.
Wow.
So that's really good. Check out Blood Quantum. Yeah.
Sweet.
That's my Halloween recommendation.
Beauty.
It's gnarly though. It's
okay.
Yeah.
I know that if you tell me something is gnarly, I need to buckle up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm way more squeamish than you are.
And check out all 9 Saw movies in a short period of time. Really,
as short a period of time as possible.
Yeah. If you can do them in a day, do it.
I mean, how many hours is that altogether? Can you
know.
even do that in one day? Just have a marathon weekend.
Oh yeah, they're shorter than 2 hours, pretty much all of them. So you could easily do that in a day. There's only 9 of them.
Yikes.
15, 16 hours of movies, maybe.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's not worth it. But yeah, for everything else about the show, thanks for listening. Thanks for like and subscribe. Leave a review if you can. 5 stars is great.
It is. That's as great as it gets.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And for all of our links and stuff, linktr.ee/retrocrappod has links to our Patreon, all of our socials. I'll throw the link to the film screening in there as well, either on there or in the description of the episode on whatever podcast app you're listening to. There'll be a link there. Yeah, it'd be real cool if a lot of people came to that screening. I'd really like that.
Heck yeah.
Got a lot of cool things planned in the future around that as well. So, yeah. Hope to see everyone there, and we'll be back next month with another episode of the show where we talk about a thing and it's gonna be good. Probably not.
Maybe we'll bring up food.
Maybe we'll bring up food
and do celebrity impersonations.
I will definitely do some celebrity impersonations. But until next time, keep watching crap.
Gotta love that crap.
I love it.